1 second, let me make this change here. I'm already booming it at the start. That's how it goes Anyway, and we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Wherever you are, my name is Makini 90, artist and illustrator, and we welcome you to a special Saturday night edition of Draw With Maki. A very special one because I got out of recently this afternoon. I got out of the theater after seeing Ghostbusters Afterlife, and we're here to bring our thoughts. So let me bring the. If you guys want the spoilers right now, I freaking love this movie, but I'm not joined alone. As of course, I got joined with me. Of course, is Dadman Walking and Mrs. Dadman Walking, and hopefully we'll have some more people stop by to discuss their thoughts about the film. But how are y'all doing tonight? Yeah, welcome to the.
Doing really good, thank you.
Yes, Makini, thank you for having us on, as always.
Always a pleasure. When I said I was going to do it, when I said I was going to do it tomorrow, yesterday, you guys said I'd love to join in for a spoiler discussion. Very happy to have you guys on. And,
absolutely, you're a man of your word, you know. Hey, and hey, it's always good to be able to talk and not just play Fortnite.
Exactly. That's what I'm all about here. So before we get started, let me go ahead and put my music in the background so we get this going here. Anyway, guys, yes, so we are going into our we're gonna go into Ghostbusters Afterlife tonight. I am going to be. This is Draw With Maki, so I'm gonna probably draw something Ghostbusters related. I'm probably gonna draw something Ghostbusters related. So,
hey, Maki, I'm in here trying to cut a move on the rug in here. You know, you got some great music here.
I know. I'll try to keep it too low so you guys can hear us. It's not too much music. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. So I guess how this will go is that at first we'll give our initial thoughts, just our general thoughts and such, and then we'll go into spoilers. We'll get into spoilers. So I'll give you guys a warning right now. So I'll let you know when we get into spoilers. So for anybody who has not seen the film and doesn't want anything spoiled, I'll tell you when to leave the stream.
And I will do my best to try to honor that. So if I start to go into what you think spoiler, hit the mute button.
Not yet. And the second thing is I'll have to put a warning here. I'm going to apologize in advance if I make a little, if what I say, I end up making a few shots at Ghostbusters 2016 in the process. I can't help it. I apologize, but let me just say this right now. I can't help. I'm going to make those jabs because Ghostbusters 2016 is shit. It is trash. Okay? Sorry for hurting your feelings. And by the way, I put a huge smile on my face to see critics get so salty about that too. Sorry, your movie was shit. And I'm happy it's not, and I'm happy it's forgotten.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, let's go say hi to our public here tonight. So thank you guys for spending your Saturday night with us. I know you guys probably got better things to do on your Saturday night than hang out with me. I know Dadman and Mrs. Dadman got better things to do than hang out Saturday night with me, so.
Oh man, no. This there's you're one of the cool people I love to hang out with on a Saturday night.
Well, I have to tell you, this is my first ever podcast. So I'm a little nervous, but
this is also not counting Fortnite. This is technically your first introduction to the channel.
Absolutely,
this is what we do. This is what I mainly do. This is what we do here. Yes. It's not Fortnite; it's art. So we're talking about art. So
I love your art. I love it.
I am going to be drawing something Ghostbusters related and talk about the film. So let's go say hi to everybody here before we get started. So first up, we got Awesome One, who is definitely not afraid of no ghost. I assume that's what the icon was. Parent Head bringing the Boomer Makini. Yes, the Boomer count starts at 1, guys. It starts at 1. All right.
Hi, Parent Head.
Awesome one. Both of the walkers are here. Yes, they are the walkers here. Of course, we got Riding Raven. Raven, good to see you. Hope we have you and Masters TDS on at some point. I did send a link out, so if you want to hop on, just let me know. And that also goes for anybody else. So everybody else who wants to hop on and talk about the movie with us, let me know, and I'll see you on the link as well. Fizz, good to see you, my friend. I don't have that fun to see Ghostbusters Afterlife. Aw, it's okay. Draw some puppies? What? No. And
how about hush?
No. Go ahead.
How about draw some hush puppies? I always love food.
Oh, and Raven said, "Don't insult trash, Makini." I know that's trash is more.
Oh my! Hey, now are all opinions allowed here, Makini?
Yes.
Okay, just gotta ask.
Yes. You told me your opinions, and I don't know if the audience is going to be positive about that, but let's get into the meat of this. So,
absolutely.
I guess I'll start. First, just. I love this film. Like, I absolutely love this film. I see the problems people have. I see some of the issues that people have, and yet it did not bother with me on that, and I still enjoyed the hell out of it. What about y'all? Let's get started with that.
Well, I enjoyed the movie. I'm going to say it's not a bad movie. I will say that the beginning to me was extremely slow, and that. It was very boring at the beginning, but once it kind of got into it was enjoyable. Like I said, there are some things you said that I do have criticisms of about it, but I mean, I would recommend the movie. I think it's a fun movie. Is it the best movie in the world? No. But it was. I did leave the theater happy, not upset that I went and saw it and wasted my time. I didn't feel I wasted my time or money on it.
I would say I didn't leave the theater. I would pair what you said, Mrs. Atman, in that, and not only did I not leave the theater not feeling like I wasted my time, but I had a smile on my face. It left me with a big smile on my face. So I really like this film. What about you, Dad, man?
Oh man. It's hard to come up with some different words because I really am in line with both of y'all. It was very. I agreed with her because we both looked at each other about 40 minutes in and we were like, "Okay, where's this going?" And but once it got its feet under itself and got all the setup done, it was very good. It became a very good movie. I liked it. I echo that there were some criticisms, or they may have overdone some things, like repetitive from the first movie,
right?
Without proper context. I'll try to stop there for now, and that it did not seem like it was its own type of movie. So, but at the end, it brought it together, and it really made a good movie that they could actually probably go forward if they really want to. So,
hey, Mads, how's it going? If you want to jump in, and if you saw the movie, you want to jump in, share your thoughts, I will send you the link as well. So,
yeah, hi, Mads.
Yeah, man.
Basically, that's it.
I'm glad you said that because I got a confession to make.
What's that?
I did not see the first film in its entirety. I know,
blasphemy.
Yeah. I know.
Wow.
Sacrilege.
Next, you're going to tell me you saw Ghostbusters 2 in its entirety before the original.
I didn't see Ghostbusters 2 at all.
Good.
Oh, yeah, good. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, this is okay. So I see where the problem is. So, Devin, would you like to kind of explain to us?
About the Ghostbusters 2.
That you hated Ghostbusters 2.
As I understand, even Bill Murray disassociated from that one, but I hated Ghostbusters 2. I mean, with the Statue of Liberty walking downtown singing and blah blah, and this art piece doing whatever it did, it was like, it was. I really hated Ghostbusters 2 so much that I actually found ways to enjoy Ghostbusters 2016 more than Ghostbusters 2.
That's how bad you hated it.
I had to put my pen down for that.
Yeah, don't mess up Maki.
Well, you haven't seen you haven't seen 2,
No.
so you might
You'll have
agree.
You'll have
I
to go
haven't
see
seen
2 now.
And I've seen enough of 2016 to know that I will never
Yeah.
watch that thing ever again for the rest of my life.
But to be fair, you really should see the first one fully and then watch the second one. And I think you'll see why I had so many criticisms about the second.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was, you know, but for this movie itself, it was definitely out of. It was nothing like 2016. It was a better organized movie. I'll stop there because I know we didn't want to go too much detail.
Okay. Do you want to get into kind of the negative points before we move on to the positives, or do you want to just start with the positives and move on to the negatives?
I like negative. Let's start negative because I think there's fewer negatives than positive. What do you think?
There's fewer negatives, in my opinion. In my humble opinion, there's fewer negatives. I wouldn't really count a lot of it as a negative. I would count it as probably this negative to me is underutilized. And that would be Finn Wolfhard, of course. You guys know from Stranger Things as Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he was underutilized though.
I think the character development, I agree with you on that, on some of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this would be a spoiler or not. How they kind of tried to pair them with the original characters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that a certain one was, and I'm so bad with their names, even though I love Ghostbusters, I just don't remember all their names. The Bill Murray character, you know,
Ray.
You know, they tried to pair him off with them, and I don't think that really worked. I wish that they kind of gave them kind of their own voice, but they tried so hard to make them like parallel. And I could see Igor's granddaughter. I saw that parallel. I loved her character. I loved what they did with her. But the other kids, I felt a little disassociated with the fact that they were trying to make them the Ghostbuster characters.
Try to give that basically kind of what you're saying. Trying to give that passing of the torch. Is that what you're saying?
I guess, but there was no foundation for it.
There's not much of a foundation.
For Phoebe's, there was. That's her name, right? Did I get that right?
Yes.
Because she's the granddaughter of Igor.
Egon.
But the other ones, they weren't related really in any way. And I wish they could have done it a little differently. There was no basis for them to be so in line with who they were supposed to represent, I guess.
And it kind of going with what you're saying, and I did hear a little bit. This is kind of a minor complaint, and that you have the grandchildren, you have the younger characters who are just kind of discovering, just going to discover what their grandfather was like, and yet they became so quick and efficient on stuff. Like you saw throughout the film of Trevor being able to rebuild the Ecto-1. Yeah, just basically to restore the Ecto-1 like that. How Phoebe was able to kind of figure stuff out as well. That didn't bother me as much, but I could totally see where kind of some of the complaints is, because it feels like it was probably either too quick or it's like, yeah.
There just was like a disassociation, like with the other characters. Podcast, they were trying to make them Dan Aykroyd's kind of
more like Aykroyd,
parallel, you know, and there just wasn't I liked his character. I loved Podcast. I loved him. I just wish that they gave a little more. I don't know.
It clearly was
foundation.
Like, clearly, and I think it was clear that with Celeste O'Connor's character Lucky, Trevor's love interest, they were trying to make her more the Ernie Hudson of the group too.
Right, yeah. And without the connection and the context.
Yeah, without the connection
to the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is a minor thing.
Yeah, it's a very minor thing. For
you
me.
know, like I said, I still enjoyed the movie, but that was just kind of a thing. I went, oh, I just wish they took a little, some of that 40 minutes of the boring stuff at the beginning and maybe built a little foundation.
Built a much stronger foundation.
Well, one of the negatives that I saw too was that, and since you haven't seen all of the original, but you may have seen enough that some of they copied carte blanche the almost the exact scene from the original movie into this movie, without necessarily having the context for that. Like in the can I describe one scene real quick?
Yeah,
briefly?
absolutely.
Well, like in the cafeteria, like in the diner, when they were describing what was going on, and you noticed that everybody was crunching in to listen to them. That was very reminiscent of the jail scene when they were locked up in the original movie.
Yep.
That same type of thing, and they did that repeatedly at times, and it just seemed kind of. Are you trying to copy and paste, or are you going to try to be your own thing? And again, these are also minor criticisms,
Yeah, very minor.
And one other thing I think that we talked about was we didn't pick up on how the original Ghostbusters had this comic feel from the beginning, even with the ghosts. This one seemed like a much darker, serious movie. It didn't have that comic undertone from the beginning.
But the thing is that with the original Ghostbusters, it had comedic elements, but it never carried itself as a comedy, as an out-and-out comedy, though. It was more supernatural.
It was supernatural, but it seemed.
But you had Bill Murray. I mean, Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd. You can't help but. I mean, you can't help but have that. The little smart alecky kind of feel,
and that brought the lighthearted tone to it.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people mistake the first Ghostbusters as a comedy when it actually isn't. It has plenty of comedic elements to it.
Yeah, it just felt different, but and again, it's in the eye of the beholder. I mean, how it seems to react to you. Yeah. But again, nothing but just like ticky tack criticisms of anything.
It's a lot of small things. My other thing is with Paul Rudd. I would say it's Paul Rudd acting as Paul Rudd. You can't change the fact. It was good. I liked it. I still enjoyed it. It's a small egg, but it's Paul Rudd playing Paul Rudd. It's the same as he was when he was Scott Lang in the Ant-Man films and other films as well. It's still Paul Rudd acting as Paul Rudd.
It's kind of like Nicolas Cage movies. It's Nicolas Cage playing Nicolas Cage.
Well, I did learn one thing. Apparently, the Keymaster and Gatekeeper did more than kiss.
That was funny. I admit, I did laugh at that.
I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "What?" There goes my shattered life bubble. I mean, sheltered, not shattered life. Jeez. I can't English right now.
It's a little shattered too.
That too.
Pause. Anyway, and I know probably people in the chat could probably pick out some other just like inconsistencies or just basically just negatives that they found. It's just a funny thing. It's just that a lot of the negatives, and I think a lot of people pointed. This is. I'm going to address this. So, one of the most common, let me know if the music's too loud. One of the most common complaints that I've heard from most critics, not the ones who you can tell that they're just salty that 2016 isn't acknowledged, but the most common complaint is the overabundance of member berries and too much fan service. Here's my response to that.
Yeah.
What movie did you guys watch? Because a lot of Easter eggs and a lot of stuff that was called back to the earlier films, I felt it was done more subtly. Like, you have to look and have to notice things in the background and such, and it wasn't so in your face about it.
Well, I think
I maybe disagree. I mean,
I think that I love the apparatuses, and I loved, having the car, and I loved all those little touches, and his workshop and things that you saw, and the ghost traps, and I just loved it. I loved that they showed the TV, commercial, the old on the YouTube old Ghostbuster ad thing. I loved all that. Where I think that where I had the problem, and probably because you didn't see all of the original, and I have a phrase that I kind of call this, and other movies has done it. I think they're trying to they're banking on the nostalgia of I call it nostalgia porn, because they're banking on it. And I think a lot of my problem is that they use so many of the going back to the scenes and carbon copying the scenes and putting them here with really not necessarily a lot of context. Some of them I liked. When we get into spoilers, I'll share some of them. But some of them I just kind of went, oh yeah, that's just there to, make everybody, it was a fan service. And I can kind of see where that was. Like I said, did it make me hate the movie? No, but I just kind of went, oh, I just wish they kind of was a little more subtle on some of the.
I guess this is probably where you and me are probably going to be having the difference.
Yeah.
Different viewpoint when it came to the fan service, just because for me, I saw it as fan service and as a love letter in the most sincerest way possible. Mm-hmm. It really did feel sincere throughout the whole way through.
Yeah,
and I never feel like it beat me over the head with it, though. Mm-hmm. That's just me. What about you, Dad, man?
I think I'm somewhere between the two of you with that, because I described that one scene earlier. It was so reminiscent. I mean, I recognized it immediately. There's 3 or 4 other scenes I recognized it immediately, but and like I said, at times they felt out of context, out of place. Mm-hmm. But I do agree that the way it came over was for respect for the franchise. It was something to throw back to the fans and stuff. And you know what? The critics may say that drag on a movie or whatever, but considering I'm a fan of, can I say another franchise real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because being a fan of Star Wars, this is what I got to say to the criticism of servicing to the fans is, I do believe that you can do fan service in a way that's respectful to the integrity of the franchise, and give the fans something to want to come back to hold on, and to keep the past alive. The past doesn't have to be killed and written off. And as we go more into, you'll see how that they left the future for where it could go. Whereas something like, well, let me, and as I said, I was not a fan of Ghostbusters 2, and they got so old then, or even that name 2016, where it kind of just ended.
Answer the call.
This one can go. I'm not going to answer the phone, but
the name. That was the name of the 2016.
I know they added that later, but I'm going to hang up. It's the telemarketer that I want to hear from. But I gave it enough credit. I'm not giving it any more. But this one, I can see a movie in 6 to 10 years where the kids would be at the right age, or they could take this and take it into a feature where something's there. But the whole point is that fan service is not a bad thing. I think when it becomes so over the top that it jumps the shark, yes, it could be. This one did not do that.
Yeah, Mads asked that question in the chat. I noticed, and I wanted to say I don't think fan service in and of itself is a bad thing. I think it can be done heavy-handedly and poorly, and where and that's when I have a problem with it. When it's almost disrespecting the fans. It's saying,
it's just like remember this, remember
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah, if it's too much or if it's like
And
not
you
done.
know, that's I don't have no problem with fan service and doing things
Well-
because, like you say, we're paying for it.
Well, okay. Let me and let me say this in this way. To me, it's I see this as not only just a love letter to everything that came before it, but probably the to me importantly the best way to pass the torch. One of the best ways to pass the torch without with honoring and doing both basically. And I think the film successfully did that. And the thing is, because of me, because I haven't seen the first Ghostbusters film in full, so I probably don't understand. I probably don't understand that. Probably if the callbacks or the member berries or just the fan service is probably too grating on some. But it's just a lot of people. It's just a lot of the critics I was hearing was that they kept banking. That was what's common thing was the overabundance of member berries and overabundance of fan service. I just didn't see that. I thought it was well done. I thought it was well handled.
Can I interject real quick with that? To that point, because like I said earlier, there were at least 5, 6. There were quite a few scenes that I recognized from the original movie. Just changed, modified, but you know that's where they were from. I compare that to something like Star Wars, The Force Awakens, when you saw Murder Bears there. They were almost over the top and over insulting with this stuff. And then especially to do what they ended up doing, and I won't get off into that. But you can have a bad use of fan service to where you basically see, like in that movie, it's become accepted that they basically cloned the original Star Wars movie. This movie, even though it has some of those elements where they took things and member berries, it's not the same as the original Ghostbusters. Like we talked about, the comedic feel. There's things that are different where this movie is its own movie that can stand on its own, even with the callbacks.
And the thing is, TFA and we've said this over the years. TFA is basically a carbon copy of A New Hope, just bad, more disrespect, but except with more disrespect to disrespect to everything that came before it, to the source material and everything, and like that was my thing. I was like, and I'll just for a quick, I'll just sideline this for a quick moment. My thing with TFA Datman was that I was kind of mixed on it when I saw it at first, but as I have watched it and as time went on, I begun to hate that film.
Yeah,
for what they did.
Oh yeah, no, I do agree with it. And the only thing that they could have made worse in it was they brought Darth Maul in it, but they didn't manage to do that in another movie later. So I'll shut up about that.
Yeah, no, let's not get into that.
No.
Believe me,
that's a whole show in itself for that.
Yeah, you don't want to get me going there because we'll be here all night.
Okay, you too. Oh, both of you. Oh my goodness.
I've got to show remind me later to show you the meme that Amanda made for me about that issue. So anyway, we'll stay with Ghostbusters.
Anyway,
Ghostbusters is a happier movie.
Okay, yeah. Let's go ahead and get to you guys ready for the positives?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Let me go first. One thing that I absolutely loved about this movie, Phoebe's character, McKenna Grace. I don't know if y'all might agree with me on this one, but disagree with me on this one. But that character, she is a scene stealer. She is an outright scene stealer.
Who was that again?
Phoebe.
Okay,
McKenna Grace's character, Phoebe.
Yeah,
she is an absolute scene stealer. Like every single scene she was in, I absolutely enjoyed. And she was able. And McKenna Grace is a really good actress.
Yes,
I agree with that.
Go ahead.
You could take her serious. I mean, she's like a 12-year-old kid, but she was serious as an adult. I mean, the weight of her character. She had a presence that just dominated the room, even with the adults and everybody else there.
Exactly. It's just like she was channeling those kind of mannerisms of a nerdy. I would say a nerdy, someone who is very outcast in her own right, as somebody of that age, and she pulled it off just flawlessly. And so I say she stole every scene. I would say some of the best scenes were with her in Podcast.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I agree. Like I say, I loved Podcast. You know,
It was
and
not,
yeah.
I did not have any laugh out loud moments, but every moment with Podcast, it got me to chuckle.
Yeah.
He was good. I mean, I really liked him for what he did as that sidekick type of character, and it was so funny the way he's definitely not Dan Aykroyd, but you could see the way they built the character similarly.
They built him up like that, and it's done so well.
And his podcast, and he only had one subscriber.
Yeah, how they tied that in the end. I love that.
I love that. It was nice. It was very nice. Like they did so many, and I think it's just like a lot of Phoebe's, like, a lot of her best interactions were with Podcasts, and especially just a lot of her interactions with other characters works really well. Like I said, I still think that Trevor was underutilized, or probably could have been used more. But for the moments that I did like, I did enjoy the scenes of those two characters interacting. I did enjoy the interactions with him and Paul Rudd, with her and Paul Rudd's character, which is very fun, and especially with the mom character. It's just she really is a scene stealer.
But do you know when I thought she was really the most effective? And it's because we talked about this while the movie was going on, or whispering between ourselves, is that the mom was on a date with the teacher. Oh gosh, is this spoiler or not? Should we warn people?
Go ahead.
I will try. Basically, the mom commented about how she wished Phoebe would be like a normal teen and get in trouble. And then when she did, it was like, well, how dare you? How could you? And Phoebe's reaction to the whole thing of anger and like, whatever. I'm trying to honor my great.
Well,
her acting. That the actress's acting in that was so solid and believable of a teenager's reaction. I felt like
fun. And you know, the thing is that when the mom was talking down to her, you could see. All I kept paying attention was the look in Phoebe's eyes.
Oh
you could tell that she wanted to go off.
I was so mad at her. I was so mad at her mom. Oh my gosh, I wanted to go into that screen and say, stop it, don't do that, listen to her. Yes,
the mom Callie did hit those cliches though, but it seemed to work well. But actually that's what made it work though.
Well, it had to, because of her history and what she felt with her father, who was Igor. Egon. Sorry, Igor. I'm sorry. That's Frankenstein. Sorry, I'm sorry, Frankenstein. Frankenstein.
Do I have to get Mads in here to correct you on that? By the way, hi Mads.
Hey. Hi Mads.
Hi.
Hey. Okay, what am I correcting who on?
Oh, I said the name wrong. I'm notorious for that.
Mispronouncing Egon's name.
I said Egon. I said Igor, and it was not, because it's Frankenstein. So
Frankenstein is
the only one I've seen in the chat, like Ivan, and
I love movies, but if you ask me to name character names, or a lot of times even actors, I don't know. It's like, the one with the brown hair and the blue flowered shirt, I'm just bad. It's getting old. That's what happens.
Let's move on, Mads. Well, just kind of initial thoughts. Did you have any like concerns, or did you have any like critiques or anything? Or just first your initial thoughts. Let's start there.
Initial thoughts, totally loved it. I was hesitant even when the trailer first came out. And I will completely own that. I've been saying since the first glimpse of the trailer that it was like a Stranger Things crossover.
I got that too, because you have Finn Wolfhard in there. I totally got that.
I mean, the fact that they were so young and all of that, I struggled with.
Right.
even from word go. And that's where, and I'll admit that that's one of those, as a longtime fan of the series, because I grew up on Ghostbusters 1 and 2. I can remember vividly watching every week the Ghostbusters TV show.
What was it? Was it Extreme Ghostbusters, if I'm correct?
Oh no.
No.
Real Ghostbusters.
Oh, real Ghostbusters.
The real, yep.
Shows you how much of a fan I was. No, it was the real Ghostbusters. I to be honest, I haven't even watched the 2016 version. No desire.
You're smart.
I'm sorry. It was one of the reasons why I was so hesitant about watching this movie, because I had said it a number of times. If there is no Ray, Peter, and Winston, because I know we're not really going to get Egon.
No.
If you don't get those three at least, you don't get Mama.
Right. Okay, let's, because we're into the, you caught us right into the stuff we love, and I brought up that freaking McKenna Grace's character Phoebe just is a freaking scene stealer.
Yep.
I would say in ways she basically kind of carries this entire film on her shoulder, most of this film on her shoulders, and she does such a fantastic job.
I loved her.
Absolutely.
I agree.
The way she was so reminiscent of Egon without being a carbon copy.
Exactly.
Well, how much do you think it is the actress? Is the actress and her talent, or maybe it was better writing?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think it's both.
I
think it's because McKenna Grace had a really good, Jason Reitman gave her really good material to work with.
Mm-hmm. But I could see an actress that didn't have the talent.
Right.
It would have come off as cheesy and just not believable.
Right.
And she just really, really pulled it off. I mean, extreme talent.
Mm-hmm.
See, for me, it was even in the scenes where she's not saying anything, but she's still very reminiscent, like the floor puzzle.
It's her.
Yes.
It's her. It's the way she's able to convey so much, even with just the awkward personality that her character is. Even when they're not saying anything, they're still able to convey so much just on their emotions alone.
I love the scene when she was first air quote met her grandfather with the chessboard. Yes. And and just the look on her face, like, oh, that's interesting. But not fear, but like, and just you could see the wheels and the thought of what's happened. Not fear, but like just the intrigue. And I just loved it. You could see it in her eyes and her whole expression, and that is hard to do. And she pulled it off amazing.
It is very hard to pull off.
That is actually one of those things that sat funny with me about the movie. And it's completely random, if I will admit. But the whole bunch of them in that family act really calmly to things being moved by a ghost. Anyone else, light suddenly flick on in the room, a lamp shifts to show you something, most people would be freaking out.
I think it was just the fact that because they're all descendants of Egon, they probably carry those kind of traits from him. You know what I mean?
It's just the way they.
There was no jumping.
This is an everyday.
You know what
they act like this is an everyday thing. Like, oh yeah,
you know what the weird was? You know what the weird thing was? There were moments where they were just like they acted how an actual human being or how an actual teenager would act.
Mm.
It was such a weird thing. They pulled it off. It was just like, I know it's weird, yet they got it.
It's weird, but it kind of made sense to me because they're. I mean, like I say, who are they? Who's their grandfather or father? I mean, they knew what he was. They knew what he was doing, and I don't think it necessarily, like you say, it's like, oh, okay, you know.
Just at least give me a moment of, okay, not this is normal that things are moving. Because I grew up in a house where things moved on their own.
I got that with the
you don't really ever get used to that.
Right.
Do you think that maybe that because who it was, that maybe there was like, you know, a calming, you know, I'm going way into the movie that they probably never even thought about, but you know, it was a calming presence, so there wasn't any fear because they kind of knew who it was.
They knew who. I think it's that they knew who it was. I think with the mother character, I think because she was in, you know, so much denial about what what her dad was like, so hence why you kind of got that calmness and kind of got that her kind of passing off a lot of stuff that was going on in the house is like weird and such. You know what I mean? I think I got that. I think that's why I felt like it felt kind of it felt really natural in a way for every character.
Hold on, Night Riot.
Good night, Riot. Anyway, so I know we're going on to characters, but speaking of which, like
there was really only one other thing that I had a real gripe about.
Go for it.
The Marshmallow Man.
Oh.
Okay. We're okay. So I'm gonna be. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna let you guys go ahead on that one, and I'll save my piece for last because I'm kind of indifferent with you guys on that one. I kind of have a different take, but go ahead. Go ahead, Mads.
I mean, the fact that they made them out so small and cute. I mean, God, I really wanted. Like, honestly, I may still make one up for my shelf. I don't know. Because they were ridiculously adorable. But then they turned suicidal. And that was so jarring for me.
It was jarring, but yet somehow I still
I like the cuteness.
It was still cute.
Killing you with kindness.
Can we talk some? Yeah, yes. I didn't have a problem with the small marshmallows. I thought it was cute, and I loved how they brought them in. And I kind of think since he thought about it the first time, and the whole everything's being open up in the after world or whatever, and then them all turning into little marshmallow men. But you're right, and then it went a little weird with the grills and the
it all blended up in the blender, and it was why is this cute?
Yeah, and chuckling. You're right.
It's like cute but morbid at the same time.
Let's see. I'm the one of the four that they were shooting for because I loved it. I love cheap theatrical tricks like that. I was a sucker for that part.
Before we move on, we gotta say hi.
I'll show you later.
We gotta say hi to the one and only PJ of Orville Nation. Hey PJ, how's it going?
Hello.
Hey, love PJ. He got Mark to take his hat off. So yes, thank you. You're my hero.
And we're gonna have his co-host Maria Tiantelli on tomorrow. So I'm very excited about that.
Anyway. The thing with the marshmallows, what I kind of thought, when you're a kid and you tell those horrible jokes like what's green and goes 60 miles an hour.
Oh my God.
A frog in a blender.
Okay.
And that's how I kind of looked back when, oh my gosh, this is like all those kid jokes done with the marshmallows.
That's what. That's what else worked with Phoebe's character. The awkwardness with the jokes she's telling actually worked.
I loved her
it. Actually worked.
Yes.
I thought she wasn't funny. I loved her jokes.
That's because we all truly have her in our souls.
I am a nerd. I will freely, openly admit it.
Yes,
it took me a long time to get there.
Okay, I want to say one thing of it. But go ahead, Debbie.
I got to say, before you talk about what you want to say with the marshmallows, is that I nerded out on the marshmallow guys because I love the Marshmallow Man from the original. Mm-hmm. I love that they made the little mini guys go like psycho evil. It worked for me. I can understand when people might not like it, but it gave me the cheap visible thrill that
and I like how they kind of tied him into the final scene in the original movie to one of the ending scenes of this. I did like that. I thought that was kind of cute.
And at this point, if guys nobody's telling right now, I'm drawing Phoebe right now. So that's one.
Really good so far.
I just could have lived without the Marshmallow Man and the barbecue scene.
Okay. So here's.
I think that's just because I
weird. I was like,
Mads, the more you know about me, the more you know I love the morbidly weird. So,
I fall asleep listening to creepypastas.
I thought about that. I think there was I don't remember. There's a specific scene I thought about. We were talking about, and I thought about you because you like creepypasta stuff. And I'm like,
but I think what's so funny is that they had that, and anybody that plays Fortnite, where they actually put that scene in the Fortnite. If you did they had a Ghostbuster challenge. And one of them, you could find them, and they were burning themselves up on a char grill.
Okay, so
they tied it over to that. So
at least that's an Easter egg.
That's just so wrong.
Okay, so here's why I was totally fine with those scenes. At first, I was expecting they were going to pull a Mandalorian. With Baby Yoda or Grogu, in that they were going to overutilize them heavily in the film. The thing I liked was they used them just enough to where it wasn't annoying. They used it for one scene at the Walmart and at the very end, and that was it.
They kind of paid homage to them.
Yeah, and it didn't feel like they were overstaying their welcome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I got. And I kind of got that with Minions in the Despicable Me films, and I also get that with Baby Yoda. It's just kind of overstaying their welcome. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They go, oh, this is cute. Let's
using
do
them
it
as a selling point.
Yeah.
Using them as a marketing point.
Yeah.
They use them just the right amount to where it's not overdone, and it's not annoying, and it's not taking over the rest of the film.
Right. And if they're smart, they would be on the toy shelves.
Plus, it was funny as hell seeing podcasts covered in all that.
It's like Dan Aykroyd. I think. Well, they were all covered in marshmallow at the end of the first one. Yeah.
He was so perfect. He, like as a little mini Ray, I loved it.
Podcast.
Yes.
Podcast. I said this before. There wasn't any like laugh out loud moments. But I chuckled every single time.
And I like you said, the friendship that podcast had with Phoebe, right? Is that okay with Phoebe? Because it was like right at the very beginning. I mean, her and all her nerdy glory stepped into the school, and and there was nobody, and she's like just by herself going, okay, I'll get through this, and then here he comes up and starts interviewing her, and it just was perfect, and I was like, and the chemistry was there, and I just love that scene because I've been that nerdy girl that's sitting there going, and I'm going to myself, oh, I wish I had a podcast. Because I
narrating,
it would just made life so much nicer.
I was chuckling. Every time he started narrating, I was chuckling the whole time. He's got Logan Kim's definitely got comedic timing. He definitely does.
Yes.
Comedic timing.
I'm a lot like podcasts. I like to go and
I know, right?
stick a mic in somebody's face. Hey, what do you think? Want to play Fortnite? Fortnite?
So what you guys don't know, this is how Dad Man and Mrs. Datman met. It was just like this.
Dude, that night I was on fire, man. I had the whole room eating out of my hand. They, and she was.
Anyway, but
oh my gosh.
I think if I ever told Makini the full story, he definitely busted.
We're not going to tell it. We're not going to tell
it. Not tonight.
Okay, so I've said before that it was Paul Rudd is basically acting as Paul Rudd, but I don't say that like a bad thing because I love Paul Rudd. Because he still had that comedic time, he still had that charm throughout. Of course, I agree. His best scenes is with when he meets Phoebe for the first time, is when they try to figure out this whole thing, and then of course the Walmart scene, which I was like the whole time. I was like, this is so Paul Rudd. I was like, this is straight up. Ant-Man, isn't it?
Honestly, he has one of my favorite lines from the movie that I'm going to go back and write it down because I need that on my wall. Where way he describes science.
Right.
I love
it. See, I expected that they were going to use him more and make him a lead character, more of a lead in terms of on the front side, like helping the kids be a Ghostbuster,
Actually, I like that they did. Actually, I like that what they did with him. I actually really like what they did with him like that. So I thought that was a good, good call on Jason Reitman's end. Speaking of which, let me go bring this up. One other thing that I really liked about this film, and I don't think this doesn't deserve enough. This deserves more credit. Is the just using. They put practical effects as a top priority throughout the entire film.
Okay, can I pretend I know nothing? What is the difference between practical effects and CGI?
For example, the Zool dogs.
Okay.
Those were all practicals. That was, I don't know if that was animatronic, but that was, you could tell that wasn't CG. That was somebody who was in that's practical effects. Yeah.
Practical meaning it's not special effect. It's not something generated by a computer.
Exactly. And that's the thing I like is that the CG that they did use, it was meant to just complement the practical effects and not meant to be, and it wasn't completely taken over. It wasn't like freaking CG heavy. Like we see with a lot, and I know Mads could probably agree with me. There's a lot of the recent superhero films who have a heavy abundance of CG. A heavy abundance of CG and not much practical. That's
Wolverine is a great example of the difference because in some of his movies, like the original ones, they had claws for him to wear.
Right.
Where the origin movie, where I'm like one of the only people.
Oh, here you go.
actually did.
Hello.
That does enjoy moments of it. Hey, Apollonie. I do like the overall movie, but there was definitely some cringe scenes of the Wolverine origin movie. But that scene in the bathroom where you can see that those are clearly CGI and they are lined up badly.
They're bad. Like you could tell it's falling apart in the seams. But here it is mostly practical and it is such a great use. And the CG was meant to complement the practical effects.
It did look like they went for the same claymation type that they did in the first movie, which was a wonderful nod back and continue being reminiscent.
I think because, like you said, because they used the practical, they did not overuse the CGI and stuff. When they did use it, it had an impact.
Right, exactly. It had a bigger impact. For example, the proton stuff, the effects are fantastic. I keep wanting to. Is it Muncher?
I think they called it
That's what they called
Muncher.
it, yeah.
Okay, because I want to keep saying it's Slimer, but it's not Slimer. But yes, the Muncher was that was a great moment. That was some good movies, good moments there. Of course,
I'm glad they gave him the Rogue Ghost. I would have been angry if they had brought Slimer.
Right. Now I
agree with you because I was, when they saw there was something, and I'm going, oh my gosh, please don't be, please don't be. And then when it was a metal eater, I was like, oh yes,
Yeah, and that leads into some other thing, and I think it leads into the cinematography aspect of it, because it didn't feel like a big budget film to you.
Not really to me. It
felt very independent.
Yeah. But one point though about the use of Slimer, using Slimer would have been one of those, like we discussed earlier, one of those member berries that might have been over the top, or have been too much to have the same ghost again. Yeah, right. Take center stage. So that's a case that they made a smart decision.
Right, and I think the other smart decision was that, like, I guess the cinematography, because it definitely felt like an indie film, more like an independent film than something that's like a big budget blockbuster. And in my opinion, going that direction, especially with the cinematography, was a big advantage for this film.
Mm-hmm. It kept that intimacy of the film.
It felt intimate. It kept the intimacy. It felt more personal. Mm-hmm. In ways it felt a lot more personal about it. Having it set in a small town like Summerville, Oklahoma, was also a big plus as well, because it's a great tie back into the earlier films. It's a lot of stuff was great callbacks. I get that. I get what people says, that there was probably too much. It felt too much like Stranger Things. And this is coming from somebody who's never watched a single episode of Stranger Things. I totally get where you're coming from, but it didn't bother me as much. It worked to its advantage.
See, there is a potential spin-off movie. Mm-hmm. I don't want to quite say sequel, but it would be along those same lines, that I actually really would love to see, because they mentioned what happened to the old fire hall.
Right. How dare it turned
it's a Starbucks, but
oh yes.
A Starbucks with that in the basement.
Oh goodness.
By the way, I can see that being a very fun movie.
The Starbucks with the site of that previously had a nuclear reactor containment cage.
With a ghost containment cage in the basement. Nobody knows exactly what it is.
It's the secret ingredient for the coffee.
Some employee goes down there to get some coffee beans and thinks it's a roaster or something, and opens up the.
I think Makini liked the secret ingredient.
That'd be funny. That'd be funny. I would admit that'd be funny. But there's just so many things. Like even with a lot of the side characters, I really enjoyed. Like I know we had some of our gripes with the mother character Callie, but I actually really liked that. Especially how in the end it was a really strong resolve to her character.
But I don't think her character could have been anything else. I mean, her father left them. He didn't really understand why. Didn't know he was protecting the world. And she was abandoned, and the bitterness that she felt, and then the jerk had to die and leave her with this crap hole. I mean, I can just feel how angry she was at him through the whole movie. Until she realized.
I gotta share this real quick because damn it, so this is the Stay Puft. I did not see this at the Cinemark that I went to.
Oh, it's now holding Hershey's Kisses.
Oh, it's holding Hershey's Kisses now. Okay.
It's so cute. It's so cute. We couldn't say no to it.
I don't feel like I gain any calories when I eat whatever's in that bowl. It's just too cute.
Okay. No, I think it was just like everyone's character. It didn't feel like a waste. Even with I would say Lucky's character didn't feel so much like Lace, although she was just more of like just love interest for.
I think that she was
Trevor. Yeah,
I think they didn't give her enough.
Yeah,
of extra stuff. I mean, it was just she was like the kind of the mean little love interest kind of thing, the tension there, but you really didn't see enough more of her character, other than she's the sheriff's daughter. Also, that was kind of an interesting reveal, but they could have done more with her.
They could have done a lot more with her.
I think most of the scenes with those two characters could have potentially been added, not necessarily made longer, but just added a little more flesh to the movie. It's just they kind of showed the pit, kind of, the one scene,
like because it really is McKenna Grace's film.
Yes, absolutely.
And I just did feel that Trevor was underutilized.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
especially if it's just like, especially if you have Phoebe, who has a much deeper connection to her grandfather than Trevor does.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I will say this, and I've been trying to not say it, but I've been fighting it off. But when you talk about how strong the actress was for the character, her ability, I could have seen a much better Queen Amidala or a Rey from Star Wars. I could have seen a much better actress, a much better character, because one of the both of those characters in those movies have been the actress, the acting. This girl, she really had a talent, and like you said, she dominated the scene when she was there.
Mm-hmm. And I think the best part is that, and I think this is a plus, is that they didn't turn her into a Rey at the end.
Right.
They didn't turn her into a flat. They didn't turn anybody into that at the flat out end. Though.
She's the same. She was the same character at the end of the movie as she was at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But she was stronger. But she didn't artificially make her, something she wasn't.
Right. And it was just watching it through her. You're watching it through her eyes and seeing it all unfold. That was an adventure in of itself. It's just her realizing that her grandfather was a Ghostbuster, and her just kind of, it was interesting because she didn't believe in ghosts at first until, the first seismic site, the first ghost sighting. Mm-hmm. By the way, which I loved at every bit of that scene, which was the first them chasing down. What was the ghost name again?
Muncher.
Chasing down.
I remember
Muncher
that name
and capture him. That was a great scene.
Dude,
I know they use that a lot in the trailer. They use that a lot in the trailer.
How about that side gun seat thing?
That was awesome. Did they have
that in the original?
I don't think so. I think
in the first two, the gunner seat was not in there. That it was something that was actually in the cartoon.
Okay.
Oh wow.
That they because at that point they were doing all practical effects, and that was a really complicated practical effect. To do that on a moving vehicle, they were unable to pull that off with the technology at the time.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, I kind of have to argue with Mads on this one. I don't think this is not just a love letter to the first two films, but this is also a love letter to not only the cartoons, the comics, and also the 2009 game, which many see as the real Ghostbusters 3.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I do feel that I don't really feel that Afterlife is a sequel more than it feels like an epilogue.
Yeah.
This is really what, and I'm gonna say it, and I know I'm gonna trigger you saying it a little bit.
Yeah.
This is what Star Wars should have been.
An epilogue, feeling more like an epilogue.
An epilogue, and with enough nods to respect to the fans that make it enjoyable.
Right.
And that if they go forward, that it can become its own thing because they have shown the respect to its predecessor. And now if they do another movie, it can go forward and maybe it can veer off in a different direction or something, and it would be okay because they have acknowledged where it comes from.
Yeah,
Right.
they've showed all of the characters without making any of them a joke.
Mhm.
They've shown complete respect for the original cast.
Yes.
And I guess we can. I will say this one thing to add on with Maz's character is like with Lucky's character at the end. I thought they were gonna go kind of with that route with Lucky saving everybody, but I like that everybody pitched in on that one.
Mhm.
Even you can even say that it was Trevor who gave the final blow on that one. Final blow. But speaking of which, let's go ahead and get into it. So guys, this is your warning right here. I'm making a warning right now. If you guys have not seen the film and you don't want spoilers, leave now. I'll give you some time to leave. I'll give you 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7.
Do you want me to sing?
5, 4,
Please no.
3,
We
2,
want to keep some
1.
people here.
You've been okay.
Oh, thanks, Mads.
Okay, everybody.
I love Mads being here. You're awesome, Mads. Thank you.
Okay.
I couldn't resist. I mean, I say that with all pure love.
Oh, I know. Well, listen.
My sisters used to pretend to sleep just to get my mom to stop singing.
Oh, well,
Okay,
hey, well,
anyway.
listen. I go somewhere and music playing. I try to clap, and Mrs. Physically restrains me to keep me from trying to clap or cut a rug or anything.
He has no rhythm, and I think he's tone deaf. But he loves singing and he loves music, so sometimes I let him sing, but a lot of times I don't.
My whole
guys,
family, they can't sing. I have no idea where I get it from.
All right, everybody.
All right.
So
All right, Makini.
yeah, spoilers here. You guys have been warned. That's all I'm gonna say. So, Mads, you make a. So, Mads, Statman, you guys make a great point in how the film respects everything that came before. It respects its characters. It respects everything. And I am going to say this right now. I absolutely love the ending.
Oh yes.
I cannot think of a better way to honor not only Egon's character but Harold Ramis with how they did the ending. I cannot think of a way. I like how it all tied back to him. How all this was Egon's plan the whole time. When you find out the resolution, Egon has spent the remainder of his life trying to keep the ghost, trying to keep Zool from coming back out. And you start, it kind of starts figuring everything, starting to figure it out together. It was very well written and well executed. And I did not tear up at the end like some people did, but the way it ended with Egon's ghost, disappearing like that. That was beautiful.
I cried.
What was more
cried.
beautiful? What to add the cherry on top of that was, Dan Aykroyd's character, thanks for just bringing up what was just kind of had that falling out, and him just apologizing before he went away. Yeah, that was a great ending. That was absolutely fantastic. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I agree, but I did cry. I cried. And I usually don't cry at a lot real movies. Cartoons, I'll cry at a drop of a hat, the opening scene, and I'll cry through the whole movie. Sometimes I'll get tear up a little bit, but I don't really. This one, it was just so beautifully done. And you're right, when he apologized for not believing him, it was like the nail in the coffin for me. I mean, it was like, okay, give me some napkins. I agree.
It was, and I have to give props to whoever was in makeup for Harold Ramis's character. Major props for that one, because I don't know if it was somebody who acted in makeup for him to just look like Egon, look like an older Egon Spengler. That was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. How it just kind of had that final scene. It tied all back up. By the way, I gotta say something with with the mom and Paul Rudd's character possessed to becoming dogs. I'm sorry, that was funny. That was funny to me.
That was funny, yes.
Oh my god, he's saying Paul Rudd was saying up on that rock waiting for her.
Oh my gosh.
Like, oh my god, perfect. I was like, okay, that's a good scene.
That
Okay,
he
I'll
was
give you
like,
that one.
was it Harold Ramis? Was that who? Who was the gatekeeper or the key, whichever the one in
Rick
Moranis.
Moranis. Yeah.
Rick Moranis. Harold Ramis was, yeah, never mind. It's like I say, I'm bad with names. I get
No, it's okay.
Rick Moranis, yeah. When he was on that rock, I just went, oh my gosh! It's like almost like he was channeling him. It was so funny.
Yeah, he was channeling Rick Moranis there. He was straight up. Paul Rudd was straight channeling Rick Moranis.
That was,
oh my goodness!
I want to know, why did her clothes like change into this beautiful outfit, and he was like in rags?
I don't know why it was funny though.
I mean, it was like, at least give him, like, I don't know, clothes that are not torn.
I think it was
But wasn't that the
yes,
same?
but-
And it wasn't that same in the original? Because
Yep.
Sigourney Weaver's character got the big red dress, and Ramis still had the like torn up rags he was wearing. So
Yes.
yeah, so
Yes.
Maybe
Wow.
it's just one of Zool's quirks.
yeah,
Yeah, right.
but
I
it
think
wasn't.
fabulously dressed.
Yeah, that it's amazing the small details you can remember when
Yeah,
they're
it's
brought
just
up.
those
you know?
little things. That's why I say they didn't see the overabundance of like fan service or just member berries, just because a lot of the Easter eggs were so. I feel like where a lot of it were in little details, little stuff that you had to kind of maybe watch it a second time, or it's like a blinking you'll miss it. I think it was handled so well.
I agree. I think they were subtle. They were enough there for them to be appreciated without them being hit over your head.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them.
And I will say that, and I will definitely say that we didn't have that many people in the theater I went to, just because it was a digital screening. It wasn't like Cinemark XD, but a lot of the people were there did clap the moment they heard Dan Aykroyd's voice again, and you saw all three of them.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yes.
That was absolutely great. and just a lot of great lines especially with Bill. But listen, I get it. I know Bill Murray's very polarizing right now, but he was great in this.
He did an awesome job.
Ernie Hudson was great as well.
The fact that they made Winston into like a millionaire.
I know, right? Yeah.
But that whole scene where you've got all of them lined up with, shooting at Gozer. And Winston looks over and there's Egon, and then he just does the nudge.
They all have to look over and it's like it's Egon. Okay, by the way, that was another great moment with Phoebe shooting at Gozer, and then the second thing you see is a hand right next to her, and it turns out it's Egon is right there.
Yes.
So it makes me think that Egon was freed as well. You know what I mean? His ghost was freed as well when
he completed his task. He completed his goal in life.
You see, Winston's reaction in that scene, though, where he's like, okay, Egon is with us. That's really what I would have liked to have seen out of the mother and the daughter when everything started moving.
Just that set, at least a little bit of that.
I'm led to believe that was actually Egon's ghost helping her out when she discovered the lab. When Phoebe discovered the lab.
I agree. Like right from word go.
Yeah, I don't think it was anyone
else. As soon as the chess piece moved, I'm like,
yes.
Really, Egon.
It's great though. But that's great though. That's the thing.
Waited all this time to finally have a family member to play chess with. You just let it.
It's just like the subtle moments though. It's just like I said, the ending scene was very powerful, and I like the fact that they ended it that way instead of like with most films they're ending it with like a sequel, was setting up like a sequel or something. No, they ended it perfectly. Like there wasn't going to be a sequel to this. That it really did feel like an epilogue.
And go ahead.
But I think they even though it's an epilogue, they did leave the door open. I think for more down the road.
Leave the door open, but it never felt like it was
right. It wasn't a heavy-handed like, "Hey, we're going to get your money in the future." It's
exactly
they can go, or they can either go with it, or they can let it drop now. So let the actors get another 10 years older, and then give it some more time. Then it might be time for another sequel. But I think that they probably have run the Gozer line as far as they can. They ran
the Gozer as far as they could with that.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool that they brought Gozer back as basically the antagonist for this film, and also J.K. Simmons. Also, in case you don't know, the guy who was in that tomb. That was J.K. Simmons.
That was him. Oh wow.
That was J. Jonah Jameson. Yep.
Wow. All I know is he had a splitting headache.
Yeah. It was like a block that goes. He only just split it. For her to split him in half.
Like I said, if they announce, Starbucks Vente Life, Ghostbusters Vente Life, I'm there.
There you go.
I may write a fan fiction. I don't know.
There you go.
I like the fact that they did not do anything after the credits. Because
no, it wasn't. It wasn't an MCU film
because it wasn't. They kept the lights off the entire credits, and usually they don't bring They usually don't bring the lights up until it's just credits roll. So we're thinking, well, are they going to show something? So we just kind of hung around, and I was glad that they didn't, because it gives like I say, there is a potential of doing another movie, but it's wrapped up, and it's got a beautiful bow on it. And if they don't do another one, I don't feel cheated.
I wouldn't complain at all.
Yes, I don't feel cheated at all.
However,
if they did, I'd go watch it.
However, there was one sign that worried me.
Okay.
And it was at the start of the film when they were rolling the titles, and then I saw Ghost Corps. And I'm like, oh, you guys are still going to try to get... okay, so for those who don't know, it was... Ghost Corps was something that Amy... the former head of Sony, or former kind of director of Sony Pictures Division, Amy Pascal... No, really, she's Pedro. Amy Pascal, she set up Ghost Corps when, Ghostbusters answered the 2016, that piece of shit. The shit came out. Because they were planning for this to be like a whole Ghost universe. I am really afraid they're going to go the MCU route with this. And I was like, we don't need another cinematic universe. Did you see what happens with Universal's Dark Universe? I'm just saying, guys. Not everything needs to be a freaking universe.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I have to plead ignorance in all that. My husband is the one that is those kind of shows, the Star Wars and Marvel, DC, any of that stuff. I am a casual viewer and a casual fan of those. So I can't really, say one way or the other of that. But I think it would be bad if they did that with this, because I just don't see any good happening. That's why,
and that was the thing I noticed with when I watched Gary Nerdrotic's review this week, that they had the Ghost Corps logo, and I'm like, oh, so they're gonna try to push this into a cinematic universe, aren't they? Oh, that's not gonna work well. It's like, this is. Like I could see a sequel like years down the line. Like years down the line with the same cast, just much older.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be as down the line as you expect. It won't surprise me that if they do a sequel with the same cast.
It wouldn't surprise me either. It's just, you're really going to go there.
They do a good job with that. For when the Ghost Corps logo came up, you got to remember, I wasn't watching this in the theater.
Right. Oh! Did you?
I very rarely watch stuff in the theater. I see it. So when that came up, I'm like, oh shoot, I got a fanfic.
Well, what is the Ghost Core? What is the Ghost Core logo? Because all that's news to me.
Let's see if I can find it. Hang on.
I really
because you see Sony, because you see the Sony logo, you see Sony Pictures, you see Columbia Pictures, and I forgot the other one. I think it was like Bond or something. But before it go into the film, you see the logo for Ghost Core, and it says Ghost Core, a Sony company. Let me show you. I don't have a small one here, but yeah, it's right here. Let me share this. I don't have a good. It's okay. This will work. At first, it said it's this one. At first, it said Ghost Core. I think this is what they used for 2016, but it said Ghost Core, a Sony Pictures company. Yeah, Braun. That's what it was. After the Braun logo, you see the logo for Ghost Core. Okay. And as I mentioned before, Ghost Core was something that they were doing in 2016. It was part of Amy Pascal's project because she wanted to do a Ghostbusters cinematic universe with the 2016 cast.
I clicked on the wrong link when that came up. I'm like, oh no.
Well, see, I agree, Makini. I agree with you that not everything needs its own flipping universe. I mean,
exactly.
Just do its own thing. You can have your sequels. You can have your, even if you want to reboot or two, but you don't need all these other universes. See, because where the kid, I have to have Ninja and Aang explain things to me because especially with comics, I don't get the multiverses and all these alternate universes because like the whole thing they did with the snap of the fingers, it threw me for a loop and all that. Because I mean, to me, there's one Spider-Man, there's one Green Lantern,
And I totally understand. Agree where you're coming from, damn it, because you're not well versed in the comics as say me and Mads are.
Well, and my brain thinks literally. You know what I do for a living? It's black, white, very concrete. That stuff, they lose me with it.
I could see I don't know if they did something like this in the comics, and I'm answering Fizz's comment. They did something like this in the comics where they actually tied in the Ghostbusters from different multiverses.
Oh boy!
So it's more than just from one universe. You have the real Ghostbusters, you have Extreme Ghostbusters, of course you have 2016, you have the main line, you have different continuities basically. Because like Extreme Ghostbusters, that was its own continuity. It's just like different stuff, different continuity they were making at the time. So,
right.
But
I still refuse to admit that Extreme Ghostbusters is any way connected.
Connected to the original.
Yeah. And Fizz, to answer Fizz, I am aware that there are multiple Green Lanterns because they go over the whole universe. But I was like talking about how you have more than just Hal Jordan as what we know as or you have 3 different Supermans and things like that. That so not to get it off track. It's just my brain does not fit around.
Right.
Like the whole, to me, Spider-Man is Peter Parker and only Peter Parker. But I know that there's all that. So I get confused very easily.
It's So I'm that is I guess probably another. I guess you say probably another critique of mine is that Ghost Core logo because I'm like, please don't turn this into a fucking universe. It's not gonna work the first time. You think it's gonna work this time?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Especially when you have the reaction to this one that is positive. You kept the fan base and all that, and my gosh, it's a beautiful picture.
I was telling because I was telling Matt because Matt's heard us that a lot of the, we were all taking a close look to the critics, and most of the big critics were. You could tell which critics were legitimately criticizing the film, and ones who were just salty about the fact that Ghostbusters 2016 isn't like acknowledged. it's even forgotten. Like there's even a point where she shows like because it's like a sign of the Armageddon where Phoebe goes into the tomb and she shows the dates of different sightings as they reference 1984 that happened in New York. That's the first Ghostbusters film, and then it goes straight to 2021.
What? No 2016? Oh my.
2016? Like, I chuckled a little bit. I'm like, I suck it.
But you know the way Hollywood does things is that if they find something successful, they are going to run it until they ruin it. And I hope that they don't do that with this. I hope
I don't either.
I can maybe see one, maybe a two, but if they just do any more with that, it's just going to get bad. Not only is it a perfect send-off to the original, it is a perfect passing of the torch. Mm-hmm. It really is.
Yes, thank you. Exactly. Because
I can see more adventures with just Phoebe, with just the new cast, Phoebe, Lucky, Trevor, and podcast kind of taking over the reins. And
also if something happens between now and when they actually do reboot it, you could address maybe somebody like if one of these four, except for Phoebe, but our podcast, but one of the other two, you might be able to work a story of how they got replaced or how they joined the group in the right context. But you've got something to work for because, like Mad said earlier, it's what Star Wars should have been because and we've said it already, but that respect for the previous, the guys appeared in the movie. That's it. You've handed it off. You've got what you need to go forward.
Plus, I did like the little cameo from both Sigourney Weaver at the very end and Annie Potts.
Yes.
At the beginning, being kind of the caretaker for Egon's house.
Mm-hmm. I just love her attitude. It's just it didn't change. It was great.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Orville says, PJ says, it's also a response to Dan Aykroyd and Reitman to Hollywood in general. Agreed, 100%. PJ, agreed 100%. Mm-hmm. And by the way, PJ, thank you. I appreciate that. I know I saw the comments, guys. I'm seeing the comments, so let me just blow my screen up for a second. Yes. I decided I was gonna do a shot of Phoebe just because I think she's absolutely fantastic character, and I think it's because it's perfect for that. So if you guys want a side by side, here you go.
But I tell you, Makini, are we all here?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, but and I don't want to touch off anything with this, but a lot of the complaint is a lot of times about strong female characters. You had a good story, well written, a great actress. Mm-hmm. She stands on her own. You didn't have to. She just stands on her own as a strong character.
Just like you can tell by her man. And I think it was like you said, it's a strength of McKenna Grace's acting in that Phoebe plays it so deadpan that you could tell her emotions you could tell how she feels by just looking at her emotions, despite her being this awkward, nerdy, deadpan kind of character.
And it looked genuine.
She conveys so much, basically.
And Makini, those emotions look genuine. Like when she was in a police station, pissed off, and you could see the anger. I mean, it wasn't faked or whatever. When the adults were questioning her, there was genuine anger, and that's
there was a funny line that cracked me up when podcast asked her, "Are you bad that your Bob and Carrie are dating?" She's like, "I'm not mad outside, but internally I'm gonna vomit."
Yeah, I loved that as somebody who, a lot of people that actually deal with me face to face generally can't read my emotions either. So that line, I love it.
I loved it too. I laughed. Perfect. And I totally agree, PJ. Is a strong female without being misandrous. Yeah, and it's just you can see that she's flawed as well. You can see a lot of characters. They choke a lot of flaws. They make they do the thing that I think that is, and they do this one thing, and I think that it does that you don't see a lot of films do nowadays. You don't see a lot of material do nowadays. Is that they actually portray these characters as actual human beings.
Mm-hmm.
They act like actual human beings throughout the whole time. You can see that, and it's never overdone, and that's what it feels like. That's what I wasn't. I noticed that some people were critiquing the fact that Phoebe was able to learn about all of this like so quickly and how to figure stuff out. I noticed it too, but it didn't bother that because of everything, but because of her character and everything that she was conveying beforehand, it didn't bother that with me at all.
But she was smart. I mean, she was smart. It made sense. I mean, she was Egon's granddaughter. I said it right this time. You know, she was probably a genius plus.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
well,
and
you saw
and she was a nerd. So she read and she learned and I didn't have a problem with that at all. Because I think it fit her character.
Well, Mrs. Datman, you saw that in the opening how she was tinkering with the electricity.
Yes. Yes.
It's like, okay. It's like, it's like, man, it's just...
You know, and the car, Trevor with the car, the only part that I wonder is how did they get all, number one, I wanted to know, how did it have gas in it? There were some things I went, how did the tires not be dry rotting?
Right.
You know, there were things like that. I went, okay, well, I am going to suspend my belief on this because it's a movie.
It's like
and
little things. It's like
but I'm like, I'll just accept that. You know, but yeah, I could see him fixing up the car. I could see him being a tinkerer with the car, but I don't know how he.
And I can tell that was Egon who connected the wire to get it to start.
Yes, yes.
But you know what? They did show some signs of him being adding oil in the vehicle and other things before that scene. So they did allude to him being mechanically inclined at least.
And mechanically inclined, and I think that's what works. And I think is that. Yeah.
But
and I think that's another thing that I do a credit. I do a credit a lot of these. I credit to Reitman's directing and writing. It's just he did a really good job with depicting teenage characters, and I know a lot of people are thinking like when you're doing kind of like a legacy kind of film where you're passing the torch off to teenagers. You think it's gonna fall apart, but no, he made it work.
Yeah,
and I think he made it work in so many different ways that I didn't catch. And I was like, and that's like, this is like, I am definitely gonna see this again at some point. I'm probably gonna want to do it,
but not at the expense of the adults in the film.
No, not.
He didn't make them look stupid or foolish or anything. I mean, they. So many movies with teenagers or kids, the parents or any adult in there, they're idiots. They're idiots, and and they didn't do that. They were all humans, and they all had their flaws, and they all had their positive points and their negative points, and they didn't. No character was developed at the expense of another character.
No, not at all. And that's one thing I did like the mom character because. When you find out that her dad was watching her the whole time throughout her entire life.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was strong too. And so
but you know what?
And that's why that hug at the very end was very strong.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Also, they did here, which I thought was a little interesting, is in a way they showed Egon as flawed too.
Yes, they did.
Because in spite of all of his efforts, all of his hard work. He failed because he couldn't capture that one ghost at the end when he tried to trap it in the field, the energy field, and it failed.
Some will say this probably cliche, but I say I really liked how that they start. I liked how that was the beginning of the film. I like how that started.
Yeah.
I like that started. So I liked how the beginning of that film, and that was in the way showing that Phoebe and the rest of the cast, they were basically finishing what Egon started.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it too because I liked it too because it just jumped into some action where you had to start. I mean, it got you. You had to pay attention. It not one of those quiet little peaceful starts,
No,
where you start to nod off and all. But it was right into it.
It was very strong. It's just like there's so much more and more I can talk about this, but I want to move on to another thing. I'm gonna make this I will try to be brief. Mads, this is where this is the I told Datman this last night, but this is the point where I go Culture Casino on this one, so expect my without the long hair though.
I was gonna say I don't want you to have Culture's hair.
Well, I know Mrs. would love me to have Culture's hair, but I just can't doctor it up well enough.
So hang on, let me check. I'm gonna have to look at other places. So for now, the box. So we won't. You'll probably hear this tomorrow on the Sunday Culture Review. And if you guys have been watching Valiant Renegade, he's been doing a great coverage of this. But Ghostbusters did the right thing. I think they did the right thing of releasing it a week before Thanksgiving and using that Thanksgiving weekend as a push, because so far it's 60 million. And if I look at we'll look this Forbes article, it looks like it's going to be nabbing 9.8 million, and it's probably going to nab even more from that. So it's earned another 9.75 million, 84% from Thursday to bring up its 8-day accumulate to 73 million, which we're likely looking at 25.1 million by the end of this weekend. So we're adding another one. So it might be able to break that 100 million by the end of this weekend. But here's the thing. It's really strong. It's really strong. Like, everybody came out in drove strength for this one. It did not and I think what happens is that it does a great job because you had Encanto come out on Thanksgiving weekend as well, but Ghostbusters just overblew it, just absolutely overwhelmed it. And on top of that, a known Marvel film is pretty much dead at this point.
Well,
go ahead.
One of the things about that, because you mentioned two movies we've seen in the last week, with Afterlife and with Encanto. And Encanto was a nice movie. Mrs. wanted to see it, but I saw it once. I don't need to see it again.
Oh, I loved it. But we won't go there.
Well, it's like I said, I was entertained by it, but it's one I don't want to go see in the theater again. But I would like to go see Afterlife again. And that was an important thing with this movie, is not only did they make a sequel or a epilogue, whatever, but it's one that you would want to pay to watch again in the theater.
Exactly.
Whereas the Star Wars movies, even after, as big a fan as, I only saw Force Awakens once in the theater. I only paid for it one time. That had never happened before. And that's a good thing when you can make an initial movie in the franchise where it's still the quality. People will pay theater admissions more than one time. They'll keep coming back.
And Fizz is bringing us up another good point. Encanto didn't have strong advertising. Like, did you guys see the advertisement for Encanto throughout this weekend or this past week?
No, not much.
Actually, we saw it when we saw a movie, and we saw it in the previews, and that's the only reason we knew it was there.
Right.
But I love that movie. I loved it as much as I love Ghostbusters. I'll be honest with you, I really did.
But what I will say, that guys, is stay tuned. Keep close to Valiant Renegade and Culture Casino, especially with the Sunday Culture Review tomorrow, and I think Tuesday Tirade Entertainment, where they're going to go over the weekend box office especially for Ghostbusters Afterlife, because it's high. It's grossing big time. The Eternals is dead in the water, and it's a huge it's a nasty drop for Disney. So it's another one sticking to Disney in a way, and I'm actually laughing about that because it's so funny with the it's Ghostbusters having this big marketing push and having it, you know what, and I will say that for a film that's been how many times was it delayed? It was delayed at least a couple of times, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think with this Ghostbuster movies, what's so good about it is that it will not only just bring the fans of the original Ghostbuster movie. You can bring your kids who've never seen it, or people can see this, and they don't necessarily need to have to know a lot of the history of it to enjoy the movie. Of course, some of it, yes, they would, but I think they explain enough of it in the movie so that even if you've never seen the original, you could enjoy this movie.
Right, and I will give props to Paul Feig for at least giving props to Jason Reitman. It still doesn't change the fact that 2016 is trash.
Sorry. And I do agree with it's trash. I won't defend it that much, but hey, in a way it's a victory for the fans in a way. But I say that with a caution also.
Yeah,
I think that you can also make something so fan oriented where it limits you to the point that and I say even with Star Wars, there are things, if you make it so exclusive to one thing, you might exclude a whole bunch of other viewers out there.
And you make a absolutely wonderful point, because I know a lot of people in our community, a lot of people in our fellowship, our community, we've been saying this for years. And Mads knows what I'm talking about. We've been saying this for years. My stance is this. I personally, aside from Little Bear, whatever she's saying,
she woke up hungry. She needed popped in a TV
okay
dinner.
Anyway, so aside of so here's my stance. You are absolutely right that if you go that other route of just doing something that's completely 100% on fan service, that is just as bad. My stance is you don't have to make a film that is just relies heavily on fan service or just pleasing the fans. Just make a good film and just don't shit on what came before it.
Right.
That's all I ask. Just at least show respect for it and not just crap all over it. That's one of my biggest problems with 2016 was that it crapped all over it. Say what you will, it crapped all over it. It was very it was very disrespectful to the original source material.
Are you talking the movie itself in addition to the director? Okay.
The movie, yeah.
Okay.
2016, where Afterlife, I really say that it feels like a love letter to fans and to everything that Ghostbusters is about, but it's a love letter in the most sincerest way possible from someone who legitimately loved putting this together. Like, you can tell that yes, Jason Reitman's taken the reins from his dad, but you can tell from every single frame that he legitimately loved Ghostbusters as a kid. He loved this property and he wanted to give it the best treatment that he could possibly can with this. And I think this is absolutely a wonderful love letter to everything as Ghostbusters. And I told my folks that this honestly makes, not only do I want to see this film again, but I actually want to go back and watch the original Ghostbusters now after this.
Yes, you absolutely need to. You will appreciate this movie even more.
Appreciate it more, yeah.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because it makes me suck it up and want to go back and watch Ghostbusters 2 again.
Even with 2.
After, but see, then again, I've come to realize lately that the things that I would not watch, there are things I watch now, maybe it's maturing, having a wife, kids and all, that I will watch now and have patience for. Right. 30 years ago, when I was 20, out of college and all, I wouldn't as macho things, just wouldn't give it time of day, or it was stupid or whatever. So, I mean, to be fair to Ghostbusters 2, I need to try to go back, watch it again with an open mind, and just see how time may change the perspective on that movie.
Right.
So, but absolutely, go back, watch 1. I'll go back, watch 2, and we'll share notes again.
Mm-hmm. It's just and that's what I feel about this. I absolutely love this. It's I'm definitely watching this again. I'm glad. I if anything, I'm glad that Ghostbusters Afterlife is the first film that made me go back to theaters in 2 years.
Yeah.
The last film I watched before was Ford versus Ferrari, and that was in 2019.
Oh, wow.
That was before all the lockdowns happened. Yeah, so I'm glad I picked this film to be the film that makes me go back to the theater.
Last one I saw in the theater was Jumanji.
I was expecting it to be Dune.
Oh wow!
I was expecting it to be Dune, but
the recent Jumanji.
Yeah, I figured that. I did figure that.
That's still
a wow.
But I will tell you, well, as a side note, but what was our theaters where we are reopened well ahead of other states and stuff.
Right.
But what was cool was they had $5 old school movies, like movies. My parents didn't go to the movies when I was younger, but I got to see movies like Back to the Future, Raiders of the Lost Ark, that I never saw in the theater, that I got to see during that time. And a lot of these movies are meant for the big screen. It does make a difference seeing it on the big, and then having the sound effects but beside you. We had one the other night, and I think it was in Kanto, or no, it was with your mom, Mrs. What was that? There was a movie recent, the Addams Family movie. With the sound effects, we thought some family to our left was having a problem with their kid, and it was the movie. It was really a cool effect. We thought somebody was having a problem with it. It was the movie, and it definitely is a good thing.
So I was looking, and I'll go off topic a little bit here with my showing. The films that they kind of showed off, or the previews were for what was it? Let me see, the Kingsman prequel, which I think that's something my dad's gonna like. My dad's a fan of Kingsman. What was it? Gucci.
House of Gucci.
What was it? The Kurt Warner biopic, which I think that's very interesting. I think it was Dog with Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Of course, Tom Holland in Uncharted. It's based off the PlayStation games. Uncharted. Think Uncharted is it's the modern day Indiana Jones. Nathan Drake is modern day. He does not pull off. I just still can't see Tom Holland pull off Nathan Drake as much. And of course, the last film was Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Right.
I made a promise that I said that Endgame was my last MCU film, period. And that I thought I was gonna break that rule for Black Widow, but I didn't end up not seeing it. I might break that rule for Far From Home.
Yeah.
I might. Just because of course, the obvious thing, the fact that the chance to see both Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, which is my Spider-Man again.
Right.
And also because you have of course you had Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, which is, I think it was great. And you see a lot of the villains from both Jamie Foxx's Electro. You see Sandman and the Lizard from both Spider-Man 3 and The Amazing Spider-Man. So yeah, it's no joke. Yeah, they were hiding the trailer. Yeah, Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are going to be in this one.
I'm not sure I can. I'm not sure my finite brain can handle that much stimulus.
Even Valiant Renegade was saying that this would probably be the the closest thing we'll have to $1 billion movie in this post-pandemic era. That's what we're thinking. He's thinking that Far From Home is going to hit $1 billion, and a lot just because people want to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield back.
I think it's going to be a good movie, but it's that nostalgia thing again. They're pulling in that nostalgia of things that people love, and they're bringing it back.
Yeah, it's just I have my concerns going into Far From Home, and this is coming from somebody who's a huge Spider-Man fan. So I have my concerns, but I won't go into it this time. Maybe I'll do a pre-watch. Maybe I'll do a pre-stream or something for Far From Home. But yeah, I'm not gonna go into that because it's.
Well, see, that's the difference too. How much knowledge of a franchise do you have before you go in? See, I think the reasons why I've not been so down on a lot of the Marvel movies, and especially we saw the recent Shang-Chi. I hope I got the name right. Yeah, I actually enjoyed the movie. I liked it, but I don't have this history and knowledge with all the Marvel universe and stuff. So it may be easier for someone like me to like a lot of the Marvel movies because I don't know if a character's been retconned or changed whatever.
You know what? You can say this. The way you saw with Shang-Chi, I will say it's probably the same with me with Afterlife. It comes from somebody who never saw Ghostbusters 2 and only saw bits and pieces of the original. So I came in with basically fresh eyes. Yeah, but it was the funny thing is I came in with fresh eyes. Yet, although I'd never really seen the first film in its entirety, I knew every character and I knew most of the references were.
I think that's what makes this movie so good is because you don't have to have all that back knowledge to appreciate it. Because I think if you're breathing you have some idea about Ghostbusters. I mean, everybody's heard who you're going to call Ghost. I mean, everybody's heard that. Exactly. My children have heard that, so that to me gives a tribute to this movie because even if you don't have all that back knowledge, you can enjoy it. And sometimes for me personally, I'm afraid to go to some of the, franchise things because I don't have all the knowledge and I'm going, well, am I going to enjoy it if I don't know all the backstory and all the lore and all the stuff because it's expensive to go to a movie.
And it's kind of how I feel with Spider-Man, and I will say this, and I think, and I know Mads will probably think differently for this one, but this is why I have I'm having a very, very big trepidation when it comes to next year when we get the Robert Pattinson Batman film. Because I'm coming into that film with so much. I'm coming into the film with somebody who grew up in the house that Batman built, who has seen, who has seen '89, who has worn out the videotape of Batman '89, who feels that the animated series is the greatest cartoon on the face of the earth, who loves the Arkham games. Yes.
No, I'm honestly with you, and I'm pretty sure you've heard me say at least once that if they had said it was Terry, I'd have no problem with it.
Terry, I would have been there front and center. I would have been like, yes. If this was Batman Beyond, I would have said yes.
Yeah, if they said it was like Batman Beyond, if it was Terry, because he pulls off that emo thing very well.
That Terry McGinnis look, yeah. Also I saw the trailer for, what was it, DC Super Pets? That looks too much like what was the film? What's the film I like? What's the pet film? I forgot.
Secret of Pets.
Secret Life of Pets.
Secret Life of Pets.
I love the first Secret Life of Pets. It looked too much like that.
When they first showed it, I thought that's what it was. They're doing another one of these.
I thought it was the same studio. I thought it was Illumination, the same studio behind it. I'm like, it's like Pets.
like on the whole Batman thing, don't show me a Bruce Wayne that can't open the gym door.
Exactly.
And tell me that he's going to beat up all of the bad guys in Gotham. No. I really don't think this guy can lift a dumbbell, let alone a thug.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes next year. That's all I'll say. We'll see how it goes next year. But it's just.
But the thing is, you're willing. You're willing to give it a chance, so
I will give it a chance.
Yeah. Y'all are better than me because there's stuff.
But don't expect me to not go in there saying not go in that film and be nitpicky as hell.
Oh yeah.
Oh
hey,
shoot!
you got every right to it.
They got Colin Farrell. I am going to be nitpicky as hell. I have yet to find a movie with him in it that I actually like.
To be fair, the CG work they did with Colin Farrell was freaking amazing.
Yeah, but he still has a Cockney accent. Stop telling this guy to pick up whatever accent he wants because he's always bad at them.
It's just, this is like a lot. I guess we got a lot looking forward to 2022. I guess, but just back to Afterlife, and I think we're gone long enough. I think we'll all wrap up our feelings with this one. I'm definitely seeing this again. I am definitely seeing this again.
I'm like you. I want to see it again while it's in the theater too.
Mm-hmm.
I want to watch.
I am getting the Blu-ray for this. That's damn sure. I'm getting the Blu-ray for this.
I'm going to watch the original, and we'll watch 2. We'll watch them, and then we'll go watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If there's a steelbook edition for this one, I'm totally getting it.
I am going to show this one to Little Bear.
Mm-hmm.
So,
she's gonna love it. She's gonna love Phoebe's character. She's gonna love Phoebe's character.
You know how many times she's watched the Hollywood Supernatural Ghostbusters crossover thing?
Okay. She's gonna love Phoebe's character.
She's gonna love this.
Mm-hmm.
I am probably going to have to make up some. I know there's going to be some Stay Puft Marshmallow Men floating in my world at some point, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be at least one in her room.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I think it's like they make the cutest pillows. Sorry.
Like I said, they were in there just enough to not be annoying.
Mm-hmm.
To not take over the film.
Like I said,
I appreciate that.
The whole barbecue thing. I can't unsee that.
It's so go back to that.
Dude, and the s'mores. One of them.
The s'mores.
Yeah, one got under the chocolate and cozied up.
Did they have one in hot chocolate or something?
No.
It was the one pulling himself along the skewer. That.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I'm a sucker for Stay Puft Marshmallow Men. I like cheap tricks like that.
Well, that last shot was one of them was playing in the blender.
Yes, I know. And then they brought him back at the end in the car. You know, they were evil little things trying to destroy the car, and
they were trying to destroy themselves. I was like, what the hell is this?
Well, they were working for Gozer at the end. That's the thing with it. They were trying to stop him.
Well, didn't they say to Ray and he thought about it again, and that's when they came back there? Because didn't he say, "Don't do it, Ray, don't do it," and he looked at him like, "Shit, I did it again."
The "Are you a god?" comment.
Oh yeah, that was great. I love that. Oh my god.
Yes.
But his whole thing. I have to go into this. His whole thing about Gozer the Gozerian on behalf of blah 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 blah. I rolled so hard in that moment.
That was great because I was like, that was great. I was like, oh my god, I love that commercial. That was a callback to the commercial. It was perfect.
And he spouted off everything with Oklahoma. It was hilarious.
Exactly.
The wildlife parks and services.
Oh, that was gold. That was absolute gold.
Well, before we close, there was something I thought about earlier, but didn't get to say. But Gozer this time in this movie versus the original movie, that was a very. You could tell the difference in the effects. Of course, it's 30 years later, so the technology's there. It was a lot sharper. Her eyes were a lot dark. It was a lot different this time. And then the effects when she ripped the guy in half.
They did. Yeah, I like the
it was like you really feared her this time. Whereas in the first one, and it's just, I think, a limitation on the technology. She was just kind of there. This was almost like a horror character,
right?
Because especially when she ripped the one guy in half that had paved the way for her, you know, it's like heck with you. I don't need anybody. It was powerful. They really hit home with that and gave her more weight. It goes her more weight as something to fear and not to play around with.
Also, I almost forgot Scream, the next Scream film. I just don't care for horror films. Sorry.
No, I don't either. But I just was impressed with the weight they gave Gozer some serious weight this time.
Mm-hmm. They did a great job with that. So anyway, let's go ahead and go around the horn, guys. So final thoughts. We'll start with Mads.
Honestly, loved it. They knocked it out of the park with this one. And again, as somebody who is skeptical about it, like I really expected this to steal Fatal J's line, Flaming Hot Boo Boo. No, they completely won me over on this one. I loved it, and I will happily sit down with a big old bowl of popcorn. If I had marshmallows, I'd bring those too. And watch the movie with the little chibi bear.
Okay, all right, Mrs. Dadman, what about you?
I'd recommend this movie. It was enjoyable. I liked it, and I would not. You don't have to be a Ghostbuster fan to like this movie. They explain the explanations are in the movie, so you don't feel lost. You don't feel like there's inside jokes you don't get. If you have the opportunity to watch the original one before you go, you'll enjoy this more, but you don't need to. I would recommend you to take your kids. It's a good movie. There's nothing in there that's, going to offend them. It's a good family movie, and I would recommend it to anyone to go see it.
Okay, Dadman, what about you, my friend?
Oh, well, it's hard to, it's a lot. Most of everything's, I'm speechless. Most of everything's been said already that needs to be said. It like Mads, I go into a movie skeptical of everything nowadays because of, actual experience. You have the movies get crapped on and you end up insulted, but this one, they didn't. It was really good. They were honoring the past and, it's refreshing. Hey, perfect timing. That's what I love. I love it. I'm a sucker for cheap tricks like that. I love the Marshmallow Man. I've always loved the Marshmallow guys, but yeah, it's a great movie. Go see it. And unlike the first movie, a warning about the first movie, Makini, you didn't see the whole thing. There's one interesting scene in the fire station that the first time I forgot about when my kids were watching it. I was like, holy crap, shut your eyes. In the original one. But this one, and Vance knows the scene I'm talking about.
There was a lot of movies back then that got passed that would have been rated a lot higher nowadays because there were things that were considered family movies, but definitely had some not safe for work moments.
Right. So, and basically that's just a warning with this, but this one had nothing like that. This one is a good if your kids can handle the intensity at times, but it's not over intense. So just go watch it, judge for yourself. And, they did honor the past, which I really appreciate. So,
okay. You guys heard my feelings towards this. I've gushed over this film long enough. I don't know what more I can be said. This is my first kind of legit experience with this franchise. I absolutely love this film. This is not only is this just a great passing of the torch. It's a great epilogue. I absolutely. It's such a beautiful love letter, and I mean a love letter in the most sincerest way. There was so much love that was put into this film that it's just it just shines every single way, from the characters, from the effects to everything they set up, from the story to the ending. Just Jason Reitman, you really honored this legacy, this franchise. And I can probably say that it's an epilogue. I say this as an epilogue because when we were going through this film, and I said this before, it does make me wonder what would have happened if you didn't have that fallout between Harold Ramis and Bill Murray when they were coming up with Ghostbusters 3, because that was in development hell for years, and they had a bad falling out from it, and it wasn't until Bill Murray was speaking to Dan Aykroyd, and it wasn't until he was passing away. So it does make me.
You mean Harold Ramis?
When Harold Ramis passed away,
okay.
It does make me wonder. It's just like it does make me wonder what could have been. Mm-hmm. What could have been if they actually patched things up, if they actually went along, because I know there was a big falling out with some of the Ghostbusters films, especially lead to Ghostbusters with planned Ghostbusters 3, which I still believe that the 2009 video game is the real Ghostbusters 3. It's absolutely in every sense of the word. But for this feels like an epilogue, but it feels like a beautiful epilogue. It feels like there's so much closure to this. It feels like I don't know what else to say. This is fantastic. I know it's probably the only film I've seen this year, but this is definitely one of my favorite films in a while. Mm-hmm. So my rating for this is it's not a better than sex for me, but this is an outright full price. For those who don't know, okay, I used to follow a movie. No, I used to follow when I was in college. I used to follow a huge movie reviewing site called Spill.com. They're now double toasted, but they had a rating of better than sex, full price, matinee, rental, some old bullshit, and fuck you. This is a full price.
Oh, yeah.
This is an absolute full price. I will watch this again. I will happily watch this again. This is you have given so much closure to this film, to this series, but at the same time planting the seeds for a really good sequel, or at least a really strong sequel. Mm-hmm. I'm afraid that they're gonna fuck it up with this Ghost Core thing. They're gonna fuck it up real bad. So
let's just enjoy the moment, not worry about.
Let's enjoy the moment. Yeah, exactly. Enjoy the moment.
Like I said, if they do Ghostbusters Afterlife, I am there.
Yeah.
No, it's they do some.
If y'all are watching, you can steal the title. Just go for it.
Yeah,
they grow up. They buy the Starbucks franchise that's there, and then they're secretly working as Ghostbusters. That's
they wind up needing to buy out the Starbucks because somebody, instead of grabbing the True North blend, they accidentally unlock the
yeah.
Oh, hey, and guess what? They're secretly financed by Winston Zeddemore, the millionaire.
Oh my god, I know, right? I know, right? No, this is an absolute love letter in some ways. The great cameo. I forgot to bring this up. I really liked that. I thought it was awkward at first when Phoebe calls up Ray. It sounded awkward at first, but once Ray kind of explains the entire backstory, it's really strong. It really is strong, and it hit me, and it was just that last moment where Phoebe, before the call ends, Phoebe tells her that she is Egon's granddaughter. It's like, it's just like that. It was just like that light, and it just hit in him, and I think it was just like, what was going to happen, and seeing the remaining three back in full uniform too. that was such an awesome moment.
Yes, I agree.
And it was just like, yeah, this is a true love letter, and this is done with so much care that, yeah, this is a straight up full price. I absolutely love this film, and I will happily see it again. So
I'm just looking forward to somebody putting the pictures of the three of them from like the first two movies to now, because that's going to be absolutely hilarious. Like Dan Aykroyd back in, God, what was it, 90s?
Yeah.
80s? Yeah. Dan Aykroyd, Ghostbusters 2. Dan Aykroyd, Ghostbusters Afterlife.
And I know
Bill Murray.
Okay. Sorry.
And then you get my man.
Gary Hudson, yeah.
Who has not aged a day.
No, black don't crack. With Hudson. Black don't crack.
I mean, poor Bill looks like he's melting.
I know. Look like he is melting.
Oh man. So hey, in that one scene, was Aykroyd was he painting miniatures?
I think he was painting miniatures or something. I don't know.
Well, because I was thinking, it just hit me. If we want to do a real life reboot of this movie or something, you gotta have
Bruce Lombardo.
Bruce is Dan Aykroyd. You're Winston. I'm Egon, and we can get Ord Ords to be Venkman. How about that?
Oh, that's perfect. I get to be Winston.
Oh, Makini, there, you need to clip that. Take all of our icons, head spaces, and put it on the meme.
I will do anything as long as it's got a big paycheck.
And, hey, like Winston said,
I'm not sure where you're fitting me in on that, but
hey, and Janine,
Matt's would totally be Sigourney Weaver, though.
Sigourney Weaver, Mrs. could be Janine. Yeah, we can fit everybody in there, I'm sure. But like Winston said in the original,
wait. Who would be Rick Moranis? Who would be Rick Moranis, though?
That would be me. Then you'd have to find somebody to be science. You can make me Rick Moranis. I'm the accountant anyway, so go ahead. Oh, you just got to find out who would be your Egon. All right, Malcolm, you know the meme you got to create somehow.
Oh my God, that's funny. That's funny. That'd be perfect. Oh my God.
But hey, as Winston said in the original movie, when they asked him if he believed in all this list of stuff, he said, "If it comes with a paycheck, I believe in anything."
If it comes with a paycheck, I'll believe in anything. Exactly. Oh my God.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, it's perfect.
Wow.
Oh my God. Anyway, guys, you guys have been.
Y'all are great, Mads. It's been great hanging out with you tonight.
Great hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, seriously. I absolutely adore this film.
And that is a wonderful, wonderful. I can't even call that a picture. That is a wonderful piece of art that you made there.
Oh, thank you.
In such a short time.
I never drew it. I don't ever draw a character that young, but yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's like it'd be cool because, and I might make this into a video. I might do a time lapse / like movie review of Afterlife, just like my thoughts. It's just I think it just shows the strength to the newer cast. It shows strength to the older cast, and like I said before, and I'll say it again, it's just freaking McKenna Grace just stole the show. She just steals every single scene she's in, and she's absolute just absolute delight. So yeah, I am so happy I decided to go ahead and see this film, and now I have something to talk about to culture on tomorrow's Sunday Culture Review. I can tell, yeah, if I saw the movie and everything, I loved it. It's like I can't wait to see it again. Yeah, it's just, man, you guys are great, and plus, yeah, I do agree, and I hope that like McKenna Grace doesn't get like typecast or anything like this, because I think she'll be a great actress.
Yeah.
Just from this.
Or that she doesn't feel like she has to take such a polar opposite type of role to have a different idea. You know how like some Disney actresses go and they become.
Well, you've been hearing about like the rumors about Tom Holland wanting to leave as Spider-Man, and I think that same thing is that he probably doesn't want to be typecast either, or he doesn't want to be just so tied to just that one franchise. You know what I mean?
Yep,
that's why I can understand why he's doing Uncharted and such like that. So, but anyway, guys, thank you guys so much.
Makini, can I say one last thing?
Yes, sir.
I just want to say thank you to Bruce. That was a nice compliment he had out there, and we'll be available for Makini as much as he wants us.
Hang on a second.
I just wanted to say thank you to Bruce personally. That's all.
Oh, well, thank you, Louis Tully.
Oh,
thank you, Louis.
I got it now. Okay. Now, you know, that's brie cheese at room temperature for $4.99 a pound. I got it right off because of
I got to tell Ords that. Oh my God! I got to tell Ords that, and I would love to. I could picture just like me.
Culture would be your casino. Culture would be your Egon.
Oh, that's right. Culture.
Yes.
No, Bruce, Orge, and Culture doing the Ghostbusters ad. And I can see Bruce making all that type of statement at the end of the film. That was.
I get to be a dog for a little while. Hey.
I can picture right now as we're trying to shoot down Zool. I'm the first one to look over and see it's a ghost of culture, and then I see Orts. Orts looks over him. He knocks Bruce over him too. That's perfect. Oh my God, that's perfect. That is so perfect.
Wow, we got money.
Oh my God!
We're about to lose Makini.
Now you think about when Bruce. Yeah, you think about when Dan Aykroyd was painting. Dan Aykroyd's painting was like, okay. Dan Aykroyd, Ray is copping Bruce's style there. Okay, why is he in Bruce Lombardo's shop right now?
But see, this again. This is the importance of having a Canadian on the team because it wouldn't be the same without Dan Aykroyd.
Exactly.
And Rick Moranis, actually, but
absolutely, yeah.
I like that Bruce is all in for this one.
Oh yeah. When I see miniatures being painted, I think Bruce. So yeah, hey, that was perfect.
Bruce is the Dan Aykroyd of our group of Makini Live. Oh my goodness, this has been a great stream. You guys are awesome. Oh my God, damn man, you're a freaking genius. Anyway, guys, this has been an absolute fun stream. Glad you guys like the picture of. If we haven't said enough, guys, go see Afterlife if you're interested. If you're a big Ghostbusters fan, if you're a fan of everything before it, go see Afterlife. Even if you're a fan of the 2016 piece of shit, go see Afterlife anyway.
Absolutely. It does Ghostbusters right.
Yep, big old thing of popcorn, some s'mores. It'll be a great movie.
S'mores.
S'mores be with you.
I'll have to do that when we get the home video.
Watch, Mads and Dad Man are going to be seeing those little Stay Puft marshmallows in their dreams. And
dude, if somebody ought to somehow make Stay Puft marshmallow brand marshmallows, I'd buy them. You know.
Tell you, it's only a matter of time before one of those winds up on my bookshelf.
It's so adorable that they start hitting themselves.
They're cute, yes. And they're enjoying it, laying under a chocolate blanket.
I want to see one in a cup of hot chocolate. I'm going to see one with a cup of hot chocolate where it's half melted in and half's out and leaning on the edge of it.
I'll be like, I am not eating marshmallows for the rest of my life. I am staying far away from that. That's scary.
It was so cute. I still want to. I'm serious. If I go back to watch this, I will probably make s'mores with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for being here.
I just don't want to clean that blender.
No.
I know, right?
That was the biggest tragedy for me.
You notice they were like still talking. They were still smiling when they were like all spread up in the blender. You know, did you notice that?
Yes.
Exactly. They're burning and smiling.
They had like I said, the one pulling himself along the skewer. He's got a big old smile on his face. It is adorable.
It's just wrong in so many ways.
It's wrong on so many levels. What the fuck? I was like, what the fuck? Oh, lay off the weed. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for being here. Of course, tomorrow is, of course, Makini Live with, of course, me, Maz Bear here, Bruce Lombardo, Rosetta Allen, and Am Dashley. And we're going to have our special guests, Maria Tiantelli, and if I'm correct, Arwen Avalon as well. So we're going to have a double guest stream. I will be doing something. I will be mockifying Maria. Of course, she's very excited to be part of this one. And then I got to reach out to Arwen. Hopefully she'll see this because I got to blow my face up. Guess what I got? I got a little frame.
Wow.
I got a frame. I will sign this one and I will mail this to Arwen. I just need her shipping info. So yeah, I got this signed frame and I will have this mail this to Arwen this week. It's just I gotta get back to her. Anyway, I got a bunch of stuff coming this week, like new time lapses, all the whole shebang. So thank you guys for being here, and I'll definitely make a time lapse of this one and do a video. Or probably just a short video. But man, this has been great. This has been absolutely great. Thank you to Mrs. Datman, Mr. Datman, and Mads for jumping on, talking this film just out the ear. And I'm actually grateful that I had three people on who are well versed in Ghostbusters than I am. So I got to learn from y'all too. So anyway, guys, thank you guys for being here, guys. Please step on that like button. Share stream out. If you guys are brand new here, please subscribe. We are working our way towards 1,000 before Christmas or hopefully the end of the year. So we just any push helps. Any support helps. And of course, you know us. Busted makes us feel good. And I know it makes y'all feel good. So from all of us here, guys, thank you. I am Makini 90, artist and illustrator. And when there's something strange in the neighborhood, who are you gonna call?
Ghostbusters. No.
Don't call me.
Ghostbusters, man.
Don't call me.
Oh, wait a second. Wait. Let me see if I can get it.
Dude, is it copyright claim, Dad Man?
Oh, sorry. I guess not.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's going to stop in a second.
Okay. Let me say this. Okay. I am Makini 90, artist and illustrator, and I will see you all next time for another video or live stream. So until then, take care. Much love, guys. Thank you
for
being here. Bye.
Bye.